Hey everybody, it's Matchbox Day. Don't go away. Hey everybody, it is Paul from Fat Guy Productions coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and it is Matchbox Day. I'm really excited about this one. This one's going to be fun. It's the number 46 Lesney Matchbox, the Mercedes 300 SE. Now, maybe I'm on a Mercedes thing, I don't know, because I just did the Mercedes convertible, and now I'm doing this one. Who knows? All I know is it really needed it. So, let's get right to it. This is a Lesney Matchbox number 45. This is the Mercedes 300 SE, and you'll see me restore this one here in a little while. It's not in the worst shape, but this is the ugliest paint in the world. I like that I have to work around the trunk and working doors, which don't work really great. But so there's a lot of fun, challenging parts to this. The rivets notwithstanding, for the most part, I think you're going to be very, very satisfied. And so we'll put that over the rivet, and we'll just start drilling really slowly. Very slow, not a lot of pressure. Okay, and let's take a look, see what we have here. Okay, again, put the bit over the rivet, a little bit of pressure, slow speed. Let's take a look, see what we have. Get our little prying tool. We'll start at the back, because if that comes apart, which I think it will, see, look how easy that one came apart. Okay, that gives us some leverage on this front. Okay, and then we get the prying tool up in here. Oh, look at that, perfect. There we go. Okay, so there's the base. Okay, we can put that to the side. Look at the suspension, a little different than I'm used to, and kind of stuck in there, so I'm not going to mess with that. I'm just going to lift it out with the interior, if I can. There it goes. Okay. Put that to the side. The window is indeed riveted in. We got a spring for the door, so I'll leave those in. There's the trunk. But now let's return our attention to these posts. Okay. Now, in the video I did on the Rolls Royce, I was faced with the decision, do I glue or drill through? Again, I've got the same decision with this trunk, so I'm going to drill through again, just like I did there. But on the front, I'm not going to have that decision. Okay, so let's go ahead and file this all down. Now, when using a regular bit, you see how little bit of it I have sticking out here, right? Okay. Make sure that that's what you're doing. Sorry about the focus. Okay. So, let's go ahead and do the back, because we're going to just drill right through it. Okay, just roll right through it into the trunk, because I don't care about that. I really don't. Some of you guys might. I don't want to glue this car together. That's my thing. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and drill deep into the front post. I hate that Matchbox rivets their windshields in, but they do. So you have to drill them out. Just be really, really careful so you don't pop through the roof of the car or break the windshield. And out it comes. Easy as that. This one's in pretty nice shape. It's not going to take a lot to get it really, really great. All right, and here it is, all stripped down and ready to go. So you saw how the paint bubbled up on my other Mercedes. But this ugly ass green is like, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm going to stay right here and remain ugly. Who the hell, seriously, who the hell decided this was the color to go with? Well, we're making a model of a Mercedes. A car known for quality around the world. We need to put a very special paint job on it. One that it speaks of wealth and power. Christmas tree green. Well, that isn't really what I had. Christmas tree green. Okay. Christmas tree green. Trust me. It'll be a big hit. Okay, well then I guess we'll go with Christmas tree green. And can we do something to make sure that it won't ever come off? And again, I'm not a fan of ruining my gloves too early in this process. Look at it come right off. All right, fresh from the sink. Zoom you out. Okay. Fresh from the sink. You know, for a lot of hobbies, Harbor Freight is a great resource, and if you don't have one, I feel bad for you. I would never, as a professional, buy my equipment there. Okay, so to get the wheels and axles off, we're going to use Marty's method. Basically, I'm going to chuck up a grinding stone in my rotary tool, and I'm just going to kind of grind off the little nub off the end of the axle until I can take the tire off and then pull the axle out. And then later, after everything's all set and I want to put it back on, I'll take it out to the drill press for the other half of Marty's method. Okay, the base needed some work. It had a lot of oxidation on it. Some kid had made his mark of Zorro on the bottom with a Sharpie. And so I'm going to start by giving it a once-over with my brass bristle brush, and then a little 4-0 steel wool, and eventually I'll move over to some polishing compound and my rotary tool. Okay, since I'm not going to restore this car because it was really, really ugly, it's going to be a custom. I can pretty much do anything I want to it. So I have decided, after some research of older Mercedes 300s, I've decided on a two-tone paint scheme, black over gray. So I'll begin by laying in the gray paint all over the entire body. I'm using Tamiya paints here, and it's thinned with Tamiya thinner, and on my paint jobs with Tamiya, I always add a few drops of Mr. Color's leveling thinner to help make sure my paint jobs stay nice and flat. One thing to consider, though, is the leveling thinner actually just retards the drying of the paint, so it's going to take a little bit longer to dry than you're probably used to. So if you go ahead and try that, just make sure you give the car ample time to dry. As always, I'll start with a tack coat, then a medium coat, then a few wet coats, and I'll use nice, long, smooth strokes. And again, I can't emphasize this enough, lighting is imperative. You have to be able to see the paint laying down on the car. If you can't, you need to fix your lighting. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and set it aside to dry for quite a bit. Then we can mask it off and come back and put on the second color.
A sports-related injury.
All right, so this base color dried for about 6 hours, I think it was. And so now what I'm going to do here is I've got the car all masked off, and I'm going to lay down Tamiya black on the roof. The trick to the masking is to just take your time. I started using Tamiya masking, and then I finished off with blue painter's tape. And just take your time, be thorough, make sure you burnish down the edges of the tape. And now we can go ahead and start laying on the black. Lay the first layer on nice and soft and easy. That will help seal the edges of the tape and keep from getting any bleeding. Then go ahead, put on a slightly thicker coat, and just like always, then finish up with a couple nice wet coats. Alright, that is looking just awesome. I'm really hopeful that this paint job is as good as I'm envisioning it in my head. So now I'll go ahead and clean my airbrush and stuff, and by the time I'm done, I can go ahead and pull off the masking tape. Don't leave your masking tape on too long, or you'll increase the chances of ruining your paint line when you remove it. I found about the length of time it takes to clean out the airbrush is just about right. But, of course, the paint's still tacky. You've got to be really, really careful. Like I said when we took the car apart, the windshield is actually really, really nice. But, as always, I believe we can make it better by taking it for a swim in some gauzy. Okay, so we raise the glass out of the gauzy nice and slow, avoiding bubbles. We drip it off and then we take it over to a napkin and we just touch a corner of it to the napkin and let the excess just wick off. It's pretty cool. Just be gentle, let it kind of drip off, making sure not to touch any of the surfaces that you really care about. Now, I noticed here a tiny little bubble. Instead of doing anything drastic, all I needed to do is take a little toothpick, give it a little poke, it went away. And now I'll set it down on my little paper plate, and I'll cover it with a little cover to make sure we get no woolly boogers. Yes, I do have some favorite products. Gauzy is clearly one of them, and Super Clean is another. Super Clean works great on getting my interiors and wheels clean and shiny. So, into the Super Clean, out with the little toothbrush, and give everything a good scrubbing, wipe them all down, and everything will come out shiny and new. As I'm normally doing restorations and not customs, I normally wouldn't highlight any of the details, but because this is a custom, I'm going to break out the silver Sharpie and I'm going to highlight the door handles and some of the trim on the trunk. And I'm also going to color in the tail lights. And for the tail lights, I'm actually using a metallic red Sharpie. Now, it's not as a vivid, solid, opaque red as the regular Sharpie is. This gives it a little bit more life, and I think it almost makes it look a little bit clearer. I really like the way it came out. Now we head to the drill press for the second half of Marty's method for dealing with wheels and axles. And basically it's two modified nail heads, and we're using them to round over the end of the axle and lock the wheels back on. It works great. Well, that base rolls great and looks fantastic. It's all shined up. It's got its wheels and axles back on it. I think we're about ready to put this car back together. Most of the pieces for suspension I've seen were made out of like the clear plastic of the windshield. Kind of brittle. I would never do what I'm doing here with one of those pieces. I'm sure it would just snap. But this one has this softer, more ductile plastic piece in here. So I'm just kind of gently giving it a bend to put it back to where it should be. This should help the suspension out a lot.
So that's all I can tell you. But you don't go in there
Okay, so I've got my base, I've got my interior, I've got my glass. All I need is my finished body and some screws, and we can wrap this sucker up. With a little smear of clear silicone to help hold the windshield in, I can now drop in the body, and it just plops right in there. And now we can kind of fit the base back on, being really careful we don't chip the paint. It would be a shame at this point to screw this car up. Alright, that seems like we've got that. Now we just need to drive a couple screws in here. Now, you'll see a lot of guys tap out the post, and I have the tap, but I really haven't seen a need to do that. These screws are going right in, and I've not had any trouble with it, so why bother tapping it? It's just one more thing I could screw up, so I'm not doing it. It's just important to always make sure you're aligned properly. And I'm just using a little Allen wrench to drive the screw in. Got the little soft piece of paper towel underneath the car to try and keep me from goofing up this body. Thinking of making some kind of a stand or something for doing this. Something padded and nice. Everybody came to your house. All right, and there you have it. She's all screwed together and locked up tight as a drum, ready for the reveal. Da, 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 da. And there she is. I could not be happier with this. I think the paint job looks fantastic. I really wasn't sure what I was going to think about it once it got going. I had second thoughts, but I think it looks amazing. I'm glad I did the little added details. And look at the taillights. That metallic red, it almost makes it look like they're stepping on the brakes and they're kind of lit up. I love it. Not as red as a regular Sharpie, but I really like the look of it. I think I'm going to have to call this a great success. Let's see if the jokes get any better. You got a new microphone. Well, I have to be honest with you. This thing came out amazing. It looks so good. I can't wrap my mind around it. This one is absolutely stunning, and I'm so glad I did it. It just, oh my gosh, the black over gray, the chroma accents, just everything about it, it's amazing. I'm really, really super cranked about it. All right, I really hope you enjoyed doing this one and taking that ugly son of a gun and turning it into this. Okay, if you did, please give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, tell your friends, your neighbors, cats, dogs, whoever, anybody who will watch my channel. Ask any questions you have, make any comments that you want to. I always read my feedback, and I at least try and say hello. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope you really enjoyed it. This is Paul from Fat Guy Productions, wishing you an amazing day. Be good.